Imagine rain falling on one house and nowhere else. No clouds, just water pouring like a curse. That's how it began in our village, tucked deep in Alaro's sacred hills. They said no spirit could touch us here. They were wrong. Welcome to today's tale about the mysterious rain. Hold tight, because this story will pull you in. It was a Wednesday night when the rain first came. The air was heavy, thick with secrets, the kind that makes your skin prickle. My name's Kemi, and I live in Alaro, where the hills hum with stories older than the stars. That night, I couldn't sleep. The heat pressed against me, not from the sky, but from something deeper, something spiritual. I tossed my wrapper aside and slipped outside to the mango tree by our compound, hoping for a breeze. That's when I heard it. Tap, tap, tap. Rain. But not everywhere. Just on Mama Nkechi's house, across the dusty path. I squinted through the moonlight. The rain fell like a curtain over her compound, her zinc roof, her yam garden, her wooden gate, but not a single drop touched the path beyond her fence. My heart thudded. I crept closer, bare feet silent on the warm earth, my breath catching. The rain was heavy, relentless, but the ground outside her compound stayed dry as bone. I rubbed my eyes, thinking I was dreaming. I wasn't. By morning, the village was alive with whispers. "That family's done something," Old Man Tunde muttered, his voice rough as he chewed his kola nut. "Rain without clouds? That's no natural thing," another voice hissed. "Maybe it's their juju turning on them." I lingered by the palm wine stall, ears open. Mama Nkechi walked past, her red wrapper blazing like fire, her head high. She smiled, bought okra, and left. Too calm, I thought, like she carried a secret heavier than the rain. That night, curiosity pulled me back. I snuck out again, the village quiet except for the tap, tap, tap on Mama Nkechi's roof. My cousin James, always braver than me, joined me. "Let's see it up close," he whispered, his voice daring. We crept through the tall grass, the air thick with the scent of wet earth. At the edge of her compound, we stopped. The rain was heavier now, almost angry, but it didn't pool or flow. It sank straight into the ground, like the earth was thirsty. James grabbed my arm. "Listen," he hissed. I held my breath. Beneath the rain's rhythm was a sound, a low, deep hum, like voices chanting underground. My skin crawled. "What is that?" I whispered. James shook his head, his courage fading. We ran home, hearts racing, vowing to keep it secret. But the village wasn't blind. By the third night, everyone knew. Mama Nkechi's house was marked. The rain didn't stop, and neither did the whispers. Something was wrong, very wrong. Let's see what happened next. By Friday, Mama Nkechi's compound was a stranger to itself. The walls were stained dark, the yam garden a swamp, the wooden fence leaning like it might fall. Yet her family acted like the world was fine. Her son, Chidi, kicked a football in the muddy yard. Her husband, Baba Nkechi, sat on their veranda, his pipe smoke curling into the air. I watched from our compound, my stomach twisting. How could they pretend? The elders called a meeting under the ancient Iroko tree, their voices sharp with worry. "This is no ordinary rain," Elder Amadi declared, his staff tapping the earth. "The gods are angry. We must act." They sent for Mama Nkechi's family, but no one came. The whispers grew louder. "They're hiding something," James said, pulling me aside. "Let's go back tonight. We need to know." Fear tugged at me, but curiosity burned hotter. At midnight, we returned. This time with my friend Lola, her eyes wide but determined. The rain was heavier, almost violent, beating the compound like a drum. We climbed the old acacia tree near their backyard, its branches creaking under our weight. The ground below was a mess of mud and water, but the puddles weren't still. They swirled in strange, unnatural patterns. Lola gasped, "Kemi, look!" I followed her gaze. The ground moved, not from the rain, but from something beneath. It rose slightly, then sank, like it was breathing. My mouth went dry. James fumbled with his torch, and for a moment, we saw it. A shape in the mud, like a hand, thin and gray, reaching up before sinking back down. Lola grabbed my hand, her nails biting into my skin. "We shouldn't be here," she whispered. We scrambled down and ran, the hum chasing us through the dark. Back home, I couldn't sleep. What was that hand? Why was the ground alive? The next day, James showed me a video he'd taken on his phone. The footage was shaky but clear, the mud rippling, a faint hand shape forming and dissolving. "This is bad," he said. "We need to tell someone." But who? The elders wouldn't listen to kids, and Mama Nkechi's family? They were still pretending. That evening, the village priest, Baba Olu, arrived, his white robes glowing in the dusk. He raised his hand, and the rain paused for the first time. The crowd gasped. "This is a debt unpaid," he said, his voice low and heavy. "The earth demands its due." He turned to Mama Nkechi, who stood at her gate, her face no longer calm. "Speak," he said. She didn't. The rain was only the beginning. The truth was buried deeper, literally. Let's uncover it. By Sunday, Mama Nkechi's compound was empty. The gate swung open, creaking in the wind, the house dark and silent. No Chidi, no Baba Nkechi, no Mama Nkechi. The rain fell softer now, like it was waiting. The village was on edge. "They've run," Old Man Tunde said, spitting his kola nut. "Cowards." But I wasn't so sure. There were no footprints in the mud, no signs they'd left. It was like the earth had swallowed them whole. Baba Olu called another meeting under the Iroko tree, his voice cutting through the murmurs. "The gods have spoken," he said. "This rain is a punishment for a theft long ago." He told a story. Decades back, Mama Nkechi's grandfather, a farmer, stole a sacred stone from the shrine of Oba, the earth goddess. He buried it in his yam garden, believing it would make his crops grow forever. The gods let him prosper, but they never forgot. Now, the rain was their reminder. My stomach knotted. That night, James, Lola, and I went back. We had to know. The rain was lighter, but the ground still rippled, moving like water. We stood at the gate, torches trembling in our hands. The hum was louder, almost a song, rising from the earth. Then we saw them, more hands, gray and thin, rising from the mud, not reaching but pointing toward the yam garden. Lola whispered, "The stone, it's still here." We didn't dare step inside, but we knew Baba Olu had to be told. At dawn, we found him at the shrine, his hands clasped in prayer. We showed him the video. His face darkened. "You children have seen what adults fear," he said. "The gods have chosen you to witness." He gathered the elders and led a procession to the compound. Baba Olu stepped into the mud, fearless, his robes dragging through the mire. He dug where the hands had pointed. Minutes later, he pulled out a stone, small but glowing faintly, like it held the heart of the earth. The rain stopped. The crowd cheered, but Baba Olu's face was grim. "The stone must return to Oba's shrine," he said, "and the family must atone." But where was Mama Nkechi's family? That night, I dreamt of them, standing in the mud, their faces blank, sinking slowly into the earth. I woke up sweating, the hum still echoing in my ears. The stone was found. The rain had stopped. But the gods weren't done. Not with me. 2 weeks later, I thought it was over. The stone was back in Oba's shrine. The village danced, poured palm wine, sang to the gods. But that Sunday night, I woke to a sound I'd prayed to never hear again. Tap, tap, tap. My heart stopped. I ran outside. My compound was soaked, my roof my walls, my mother's herb garden. But next door, dry. The path, dry. The rain had chosen me. By morning, the village noticed. First, then Ketches, now Kemi, they whispered. What's her family hiding? My mother sprinkled salt, prayed, but the rain didn't stop. I found Baba Olu at the shrine, my knees shaking. Why me? I begged. His eyes pierced me. You watched where you shouldn't have, he said. You followed the god's punishment, and your bloodline, it carries its own debt. My bloodline? My father was a quiet carpenter, carving stools for the market. But that night, I confronted him. He sighed, his shoulders heavy. Before you were born, he said, I took earth from Oba's shrine to bless our home. I thought it would protect us. He led me to the backyard, dug up a small clay pot. Inside was soil, dark and heavy, like it pulsed with life. Baba Olu gave me a task. Return the soil, he said. Walk to the shrine, barefoot, silent, through 7 sacred paths. If you falter, the rain will never stop. I began at dawn, the rain soaking me, cold and relentless. I passed the river stones, the bleeding tree, the hill of whispers. At the 7th path, I found the shrine. I dug, hands trembling, and buried the soil. Forgive us, I whispered. Let the earth rest. The rain stopped. Clouds parted, sunlight warming my face. I fell to my knees, tears mixing with the mud. When I returned, the village stared. You did it, James said, hugging me. My roof was dry. The hum was gone. Rain is just water, they say. But in Alaro, we know better. It's a memory, a warning, a chance to make things right. What would you do if the rain chose you? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that pull you into our world at African Folktales TV.